We're here with Gillian Ring, who is a senior this fall, majoring in both biology and international studies with a political science and East Asia focus and a minor in Chinese. Gillian, thank you for taking some time to talk today. First of all, if you can tell us a little bit about how you came to your two majors and minor.
I still haven't really decided that that's what I want to stick with. I came to Southwestern undecided. I'm still in a way undecided. As I've been at Southwestern, I've explored a lot of different fields. I've taken classes in all sorts of different disciplines, and I find a lot of them interesting. So the biology and then international studies with folks in East Asian political science are both kind of what I landed on, and figured I should stop on and focus on one thing for a while. And I don't know, they both seemed relevant to today's society and interesting to me personally, and so that's how I ended up with those. And my Chinese minor, it was a complete fluke. Southwestern has a language requirement, and when I showed up, I looked at the list of languages and was trying to decide between them, and Chinese was the one I was most unfamiliar with. And so I decided to try it, and the first class was fantastic, and I fell in love with it, and ended up studying abroad in China, and I spent 2 months doing a language intensive, and I got the opportunity to help teach a course on campus, and it's just offered me so many opportunities. I never expected that from something that was, I guess, a wild guess. So it was a complete fluke, but I'm very happy that I got that opportunity.
A little bit about how you opened your own eyes a little bit to some of these courses that maybe you weren't familiar with coming out of high school, and some of the areas that you decided to explore.
Well, exploration really is the key. When I came to Southwestern, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I still have no idea what I wanted to do. So I had some core courses that I knew I needed to take, but you have some leeway, especially if you plan out your years right. And if you take that leeway and you look at all the potential courses and find the courses that fit around the courses you absolutely need, and just pick one that sounds interesting. And it doesn't matter what discipline it's in, it doesn't matter what professors are teaching it, if you know them or not. I recommend researching the professors, making sure that maybe their teaching style fits with your learning style, that sort of thing, speaking with other students, looking online, whatever it takes. But definitely branching out is the way to find what you're looking for. And if you don't search, you won't find it. So branching out is the key.
Perfect. And so because of the way the general education program at Southwestern is structured, did that come a little easier knowing that each course you were taking was actually counting toward a requirement regardless of what area it was in?
For me personally, it didn't make that much of a difference. I was so interested in exploring anyway, but I know plenty of people who were a little bit more timid about branching out into fields they weren't familiar with, fields that weren't in their major, and that kind of helped nudge them out the door and look at some areas that they hadn't even considered. And I know several people who took a course so far outside their field and just they were shocked and fell in love with it and just kept taking courses in that field and made a minor out of it, or switched their major. And you don't have to switch your major. I mean, if you just find a passion, there's no harm in that either. So.
And so how about this idea of pushing yourself outside of areas of comfort? How do you approach, kind of intellectually approach a field that you're not familiar with? How do you get yourself comfortable in, say, your first biology class if that hasn't been your background?
In the classroom setting, I would say speak with the professor. That's always the key. If you're uncomfortable with anything, talk with the professor. They've been teaching for a long time. They know their field, and Southwestern is a great forum for communication with professors and people who are familiar with the field. You have your academic advisor. You have resources on campus that can help you adapt to your situation. And if you're not comfortable with something, you don't have to branch out to that part, but I find that branching out into something just outside your comfort zone, especially here, is the best place to do it. because you have such a strong support system. So if you're taking your first biology course and you just wait until the first class ends and you go up to the professor and you say, hey, I've never taken a biology course, I don't really know what I'm doing, just so you know, if I have any problems, that might be a reason why. And in my experience, they're always more than willing to help. They'll create a personal connection with you and be more than willing to communicate with you about specific assignments and biology in general. Professors will send you information if you ask for it. And developing those communication skills with the professors early on is key. So I guess the exploration works in multiple ways to develop certain skills that you definitely need later on.
Absolutely. And so as someone who has pretty disparate majors and having been able to study abroad, how much planning did that take?
I've done a lot of planning, but it doesn't seem to be the same planning every time I plan. So every time I switched a major, I've gone through 4 or 5 majors. I would sit down and plan out the rest of my time at Southwestern. And sometimes that's hard because Southwestern is such a small school, you don't have all the courses you thought were going to be the next semester. But there is still enough flexibility that you can work around it. If there's not one course, there's usually another that's on par with it. So you just sit there, you plan out. If it changes, don't stress out too much. Just adapt your plan and don't give up opportunities. There's so many resources.